Hi YouTube, it's Karen again, the Thrifty Flamingo, and this video is called You Can't Do That on Poshmark. Pause for dramatic effect. Okay, so 7 things that you cannot do on Poshmark. The first 3 things will actually get your account shut down. So let's start this. The very first thing you do not want to do on Poshmark is to sell restricted items. Poshmark is for clothing of men's, women's, and children's, and accessories. That's about it. Pretty much a good rule of thumb is if you could put it on your body, you could sell it. Anything else is prohibited. So just because you had this lying around your garage doesn't mean that you can list it. No electronics, no home goods. They have a whole list of items that you just can't sell. And if you're unfamiliar with where to find that, you go into the app, you go to your user, scroll all the way down to the bottom where it says About Poshmark. And then you're going to see terms and conditions. If you're selling on a site, you should definitely know the ins and outs of the site. You should read over the terms and conditions. You should know what's allowable and what's not. Some of the stuff, I've seen some crazy stuff that, you can report listings. You can find something that's not allowed and go in to report the listing. I do it occasionally if it's something really crazy or just nasty. I saw a box of tampons in like new condition. I don't even want to know what that means. Ew. One very important thing that just you should not even think of selling is used makeup. Used makeup. I mean, come on. Oh yeah, like new condition. Didn't really use it. That's disgusting. Now, there are proper ways to sanitize makeup, and I will tell you this, the general public does not know it. They don't, and if they think they do, they don't do it right. It is disgusting. People could get, infections. People have gotten infections from used makeup. Don't do it. It has to be new sealed makeup. So please read over the terms and conditions. They will shut you down if you sell restricted items and they catch you doing it. This also includes knockoffs and counterfeit items. If you have a purse that you're not sure if it's an authentic or not, don't list it until you can find out if it is authentic or not. Inspired by fakes, that will definitely get you shut down. That's under like trademark law and all that. You can't sell a purse that is a complete ripoff of a Chanel and sell it for $50. You can't do it. Yeah, that's one easy way to get your account, banned. Number 2, do not sell or advertise off-site transactions. They will shut you down for this. When you sell on Poshmark, you're selling on Poshmark. You're using their forum to make money, and they make money in the process as well. You do have your user fees when you sell an item. They get a percentage of it. So, if someone says, hey, can you do this through PayPal, you have to say no, because if Poshmark sees it, you're like, yeah, sure, we'll take this off site. You've just used Poshmark's real estate to make money and they got nothing on it. That's rude. That, every single site has some form of, payment scheme where everybody's making money. You're using their app to get exposure and market your product. They need to get a cut of that, and it is fair. So they have algorithms that pick up on, like, when you try to type out an email address, your PayPal account and stuff like that, a warning will pop up. It'll say, you cannot have email addresses, or PP for PayPal. They're very crafty with their algorithms and picking up on it, but people still get around it. You can't offer, I also sell on eBay or other Poshmark wannabe sites. You can't do that. Why would you do that? I sell on eBay. You wouldn't know that by looking at my Poshmark closet. Not one comment have I ever said, you know what? I'll ship it to you for free on eBay. No, why would I do that? What I sell on eBay, I sell on eBay. What I sell on Poshmark, I sell on Poshmark. They are two separate entities. I respect Poshmark for their forum, and I'm not going to even try to mess with that. So no advertising any kind of off-site transactions. You know, all those will get you banned. We don't want to get you banned. All right, number 3. You do not want to mistag items on purpose for exposure. Think about it on a buyer's perspective. Say you're in the market for some Lululemon capris, and you're not exactly sure which ones. You just want a window shop. So you type in the search bar, Lululemon capris, and believe me, you're gonna get tons of results. So all the results pop up, and you're like, ooh, those are cute, and you open up, you know, whatever one you found, and you're looking at it, you're like, cute, 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 and you go to the description, and it says some random brand you've never heard of, and it says, not Lululemon, for exposure only. Really? And that happens so often. That's one of the most common things I run across, mistagged items. It gets really hard to find the actual Lululemon items that you want to find because people are mistagging their items, you know, more unheard of brands, not bad brands, not cheap brands, who knows, just, you know, brands that aren't, you know, in your face like Lululemon, and they want more people to view them, and if they know if they put the regular brand's name in the listing, not many people are going to search for that brand, so then they will purposely mistag an item. Don't do that, you know. You can also have cases open up against you, people that buy really quick, the shopaholics, they might be like, oh, cute, do a quick perusal of the pictures. They might not have seen not Lululemon, for exposure only, hit purchase, bought the item, 2 to 3 days later, you know, priority mail shipping, they open up the leggings and they take it out and they're like, these aren't Lululemon. You just got a case opened up against you, and you're going to lose that case. Because that is your fault and you purposely misrepresented an item and sold it as something else. So do not mistag items for exposure. Number 4, you do not want to do this on Poshmark. You do not want to advertise your item or your closet on somebody else's item or closet. That's rude. You know, so you came across somebody who has a very similar item than you, maybe even the same item as you, and they have 47 likes, 47 different people have heart, bookmarked it, possibly going to go back and buy it sometime soon, and yours has 2. So what you don't want to do is then go on that other person's listing and say, hey everybody, I have the same ones. I'm selling them $10 cheaper. Really? I've seen that as well. That's horrible. As a reseller, as just a seller in general, we need to respect one another. You know, you can't come to my house and say, hey, don't come here, come over here. That's just rude. Person to person, you know, respect one another. Do not advertise on other people's closets. Even if it's just like, hey, come by my closet. I have similar items. You know, don't do that. It's really rude, especially when you're cutting the person whose listing it is completely out of the equation. It's their listing. All right, so kind of on the same subject. Number 5, do not disrespect the individual poshers right to price as they see fit. My last video, I talked about retail arbitrage, going to a store, purchasing an item, low, hopefully, purchasing a cheaper item, new with tags, and then listing it to make a profit. And the height of rudeness, as Grandma would say, to go on somebody else's listing, and just because you don't agree with how that person priced it, and then go out of your way to say something about it. Do not comment on individual listings because you don't agree with how somebody priced their item when you have no interest in the item. For example, you see a bag, new with tags, and the price is whatever it is, and then you comment, they had this at Burlington Coat Factory for $14. How could you charge $60 for it? People, don't buy this purse. Just go to Burlington Coat Factory. They got a bunch of these purses. I mean, that's not even just, that's beyond wrong. If you don't agree with the way somebody prices their item, who cares? Move on. Go somewhere else. You know, you don't have to kind of, bring everybody else down with you. There's no room for negativity in my life. I'm doing me. I do how I see fit, and that's the beauty of it. Every person on the Poshmark app has a right to do what they want. It's their clothes. It's their product. They could price it at whatever they want to. Who knows if it'll sell? But you have no right to go into somebody's house and say stuff about it. No way. So I hope you're liking this. We got 2 more to go. If you're learning, if you actually know what I'm talking about, maybe you've seen some of these things happening, in your forums, definitely hit the like button. If you want to know more and see more of these awesome videos on Poshmark, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So, number 6. You do not want to barter the price in the comment section. Poshmark does have an offer button. The offer button is where you can put an offer in, just like on eBay, where they do have that feature as well. The seller marks it out whatever, and say you want a different price. You put your offer in. You do not want to go into the comment section and say, would you take 20? Lowest? What's your lowest you do on this? As sellers, we do not have control over our comments. We cannot remove them. We cannot edit them. All we can do is delete the item and relist it. I've had to do that because of people hammering away and trying to barter within the comments. These comments are for everybody to see. When you do the offer button, it's between buyer and seller, or potential buyer and seller. Nobody else can see that. So what could happen if you try to barter in the comments? Let's say somebody wants it half off of what you're saying. You have something priced at $50, and someone says, will you take 25? And then you actually respond, you go, you know what? I'll take 30 for it. How's 30? And then crickets. Nothing. The person who commented isn't there anymore. But you know what is there? The comment, I will take 30 for this. Now, another person comes along and they see the same item and they're like, oh, this is cute. Now, they would have paid 50 for it, but now they're looking at the comments and they see that you'll take 30. You're going to get a bunch of offers for $30 and around. That's not their fault. That's your fault for responding. It does go both ways. I politely say, I'm happy to barter through the offer button. And I make a little arrow down to it. And I say, I'm happy to talk about pricing through the offer button. And then I sometimes say, and if we cannot reach an agreement, you could always decline. I think uneducated buyers think that the offer button is set in stone. Like if they actually hit the offer button, then the sale has to go through no matter what price, they came to. And that's not the case. They can always decline. As a buyer, we can decline. So, knowledge. Knowledge is power. Schoolhouse rocks. That's right. All right. Last thing. The last thing you do not want to do is you do not want to pursue potential buyers when they've liked your item. Liking an item, and when you hit the little heart button, it bookmarks it. Now, especially women, we like to window shop. Sometimes we don't even know what we're looking for. We're just shopping around. And if something catches our eyes, we may buy it. You know, so a lot of times our like buttons are just possibilities. I have hundreds of likes. I do go through them every month, and I whittle them down, and I delete them if they've been sold. And a lot of times I go back and purchase them. I'm also a buyer. I'm not just a seller. So you do not want to, when somebody hits the like button and you get that notification and it says so-and-so has liked your so-and-so, and you go into the listing and you say, interested? Would you like the offer button? I'm willing to negotiate. Think about it if it was a brick and mortar store. Think about when you're shopping at the mall and you're just window shopping. You're going in and out of your favorite stores and you're not really sure what you're looking for. You're just in the mood to shop for something. And you walk into the store. And the very first sales associate that sees you, they do their job and they come up to you and they say, can I help you with anything? And when you really don't have a specific thing you're looking for, you say, no, I'm just looking around. And they say, yeah, okay, cool. And they flutter on off to go fold another item. Now imagine if you walked over to a rack right after they've left and you picked up a shirt. And you looked at the shirt and you're like, I kind of like this shirt, but it's not really like sticking with me right now. All of a sudden that sales associate is right over your shoulder and they're like, so I see you found something. Are you interested? Interested? No, I'm just looking at it. You know, I'm just possible. And you put it down and they flutter off again. And you go to another rack and you see something else. You're looking at it. You're pulling out the fabric. Do I even like this fabric? Oh, it's dry clean only. Maybe not. And there's a sales associate. You interested? How annoying. Would you go back to that store if every single time you picked up an item? Are you interested? No. So why would you do that in your virtual store? If somebody is interested, they're, one, going to purchase the item. They're either going to put an offer in or they're going to buy the item. Or, two, they're going to start asking questions that they might have about the item that maybe your listing lacked in. You know, what's the material of this? How long is it? And sure, sometimes we've answered these crazy questions, and sometimes they can get a little more crazier about that than just like regular stuff like that. And you go running around, you're answering all these questions for that one person, and you're like, oh, okay, they really like this item. I just answered 3 questions for them. And then nothing. That's how it is. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. You know, so, but once in a while, they do. They turn into sales. If you've answered all the questions correctly to their liking, they're going to buy it. You know, but you do not want to pursue somebody just because they've hit the like button. You know, that's one way to actually lose a potential sale. So, I really hope you've learned what not to do on Poshmark, because you can't do that on Poshmark. So if you have liked this, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you have any topics that you would like me to cover, please put them in the comments. Been there, done that. I would definitely take into consideration anything that you guys want me to cover. My next video, I'm going to start talking about what to do with stale items. Those items that you post and you like and you know someone else will like, but nothing's happening and they've been listed. Share, nothing. Barely any likes, no activity, and you can't figure out why. So I'm going to make a video on what to do with stale items that just aren't moving. So subscribe to stay in the loop. Other than that, everybody have a great day.